Perfect. So welcome back to the Combat Subs podcast. I want to welcome my next guest, as you can see him over there. So he is a black belt at Unity Jiu Jitsu under Murilo Santana. He's also the Fight to Win Bantam Weight Champion, Edwin Junny Ocasio. So Junny, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
So a couple of things to know about him, or something that's kind of funny. So we actually have the same submission. So arm triangle. So my question is, all right, how did that become your favorite? I know how it became mine, but how did it become yours?
Oh man, I don't know. I think when I was coming up through like white belt, a lot of people liked the back. I didn't really get into back taking until like I met Murilo. So I was really good at getting to mount, passing guard, and head and arm was just one of the ones I would hit all the time. It was just one of those moves that is became one of my like if I had to bank on something in a match, if I mount you and I get a head and arm choke, most of the time I'm gonna get a finish, you know?
Yeah, and actually that's how I kind of came to love it too, is as a white belt, I could get to mount and I was like, all right, I can, at least at a fairly high percentage, I know I'm gonna finish a guy if I do that. If I tried other shit, I'd probably mess it up. But
exactly. Coming up too, I didn't know leg entanglements when I was all the way to purple belt. I didn't know a lot of things, but passing guard, head and arm choke, and that's for me, it's really weird because I do that in the gi and no gi. So it doesn't matter to me. That's just one of my bread and butter moves. And now these days, I'm just even better at it. It's just man, I think my ratio for finishing that is pretty good. Either I'm gonna get a pass or I'm gonna be able to. It's funny because people go to the back, head and arm choke is just a place where I would go head and arm, and then I'd go to the back from the head and arm.
Yeah, so you let them turn into it, so then you can take their back.
Yeah, and it doesn't cost me nothing. Plus, I just love mount. I love mount more than other people like mount. It does not bother me to go to mount. I'm just really good at mount. I love mount.
For sure. So you kind of mentioned some of the leg entanglements and that sort of thing. So I know you have a move called the Zlock, and I've watched it from kind of an outsider's perspective. It looks kind of like a calf slicer, but as I understand it, it's more like a knee bar, right?
The Zlock is more so there's two things. It's more like a hip lock, so it isolates your hip rotation. Okay. And so it can shoot up to your hip pretty well. Some people are flexible and it shoots up more to their knee. So when people do it to me, I feel it in the hip and I feel it more towards my knee. It really depends, but usually it's hitting the inside of your knee, or more like the LCL of your knee, so the outside. And most of the time it'll lock up your hip joint. So it's usually how people check if your hip is in place in PT. So it's not a really fun move to get put into.
Kind of going with that Lachlan Giles vibe of use your knowledge of anatomy to create a move that's effective.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that. That's essentially what jiu-jitsu is, right? You're isolating the human body, right, and the joint and the wedges on the human body, the hip lines, the armpits, just little things that you can manipulate. And jiu-jitsu has gray area, but for the most part, it's definitely a human body structure thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure, right? Or trying to break down that human structure.
Yeah.
So I know that we talked about it. So you train at Unity, you've been training in New York, that sort of thing. So what's your favorite kind of hidden gem restaurant that most people don't know about when they go to New York?
What's funny is that I make all my own food these days. So but I've been in New York for a long time. I just stopped eating fast food. I actually if I eat bad food, it's probably just sweets. So I wouldn't. It's hard for me to recommend just any spot. I could tell you a couple things. Okay, I could tell you that my favorite cauliflower pizza spot in New York is Sophie's Pizzeria up on the east side. They make the most banging cauliflower crust pizza I've ever had. If I wanted regular pizza, I'd say Vito's Italian Ices, Vito's Slices and Ices. They make fucking spectacular pizza. I'd say you got to be smart with your questions, because like if you chose to ask me like what cookie spots are amazing, now I'm an expert at that.
All right.
Right. So like food is like, I don't know if I would say like just like the most amazing restaurant I've ever had. I could tell you the restaurant in Austin I could have, but no, I just don't eat. I just don't make my I don't eat that much food over here like that. I usually make all my own food, and I usually just have sweets. Yeah, I would mess up with you on that one. I know like little spots, right? Like for sushi, I forgot the name, but it's near the Sophie's Pizzeria that they have like the best sushi spot that I like. It's affordable and still good. What else would I say? It's around here.
So you've mentioned sweets a couple of times. All right, is there like
Yeah.
a favorite bakery or?
Oh man, I love so many bakeries. So there's like my favorite. I don't know, man. There's so many. All right, so like my favorite shop, because I eat a lot of gluten-free stuff now. Not that I'm not against gluten. I love gluten. My body happens to intake just better with like gluten-free stuff. But there's this place called Posh Pop Bakery, and they make everything gluten-free, and they have the most wild like desserts. Like, like I think they had like a s'mores pumpkin cheesecake, and like they had like, a Cookie Monster cheesecake, or like an M&M cake slice, or like, a bunch of cookies, bunch of so many different things that just like is really good. And it's addicting, really. This is why I stay away from sweets. Like,
Yes.
but when I do have sweets, or like when I do have a snack, usually it's on the weekend where I'll pick out, especially like if like, for instance, like this weekend is like my last weekend before I get right back to like competition. So I've been indulging a little bit more than I normally would. And having the M&M cake slice was just fucking delicious. And there is my favorite protein bakery. There's this, literally it's called the Protein Bakery. They make protein cookies like you've never tasted. It tastes like a regular cookie, and they're like low in calorie and like super, super good. If I had to say like cookies by himself, I'd be like, there's Chips NYC that makes really big cookies. I like those. There's Culture Cookies, which I fucking love. There's a lot of cookies in New York, but I must say that the Culture Cookie is like probably by far like my favorite cookie in NYC. I don't like Insomnia cookies. There's like a bunch, man. Like I literally, when I go to every state in the US, doesn't matter where I go, I will try a sweet or cookies over there. I'm like, just try them everywhere. So like, even though I don't get them now, like that much these days, I will make a attempt to like try the cookies wherever I go. So New York has a lot of places that like are really good. If you want like a donut that has like Nutella filling in it, I'd say Angelina's Bakery is amazing. But I still say the Posh Bop Bakery, if it's just so good, man. They make so many varieties that is just crazy good. And like you can have because it's gluten free, like you feel like they're light, so you can feel like you eat like a bunch of them. I don't know necessarily that's a good thing, but yeah, that's my sweet intake. I just love sweets. I have a problem.
So the next time you're in Phoenix, there's a place called Crumbles. I think it's a chain or a franchise.
I've had Crumble.
Okay.
Crumbles are good. Crumbles good. There's Crumble. There's Night Owl. There's oh my god. There's this Nestle other one that I tried before. I'm telling you, if I went somewhere, I've tried the cookies. Like even if there's one, because usually I go to compete, I compete first, and then afterwards I like find cookies, you know, so
Sure.
I'll always look up cookies and find them. Besides this last weekend, I think right before Worlds, I had given up a lot of sweets. Like I pretty much gave up all sweets and all everything. Cause you know, I'm getting ready to fight and I like to get in the zone for that. But yeah, I've been indulging this past weekend because I know it's the last time for like at least 3 weeks or some shit like that.
So clearly you're a big fan of food, especially sweets. So
I love food.
let's talk about, so, you know, when you're getting ready for a competition, whether it's a tournament or more of like a super fight kind of thing, what does your diet look like typically?
So I have like it's not really, I would say this, I eat the same way I would for a tournament that I eat normally. The only difference would be like, I would eliminate any of the extra things that aren't necessary. So like, if on Friday I have like a sweet cheat meal, I probably won't have it. Otherwise, I eat super veggie heavy, and I make all my own food. So I'm very big. I got into this thing where like I started doing like a protein diet where I would just literally make all my own foods based on all the protein, like, you know, like protein pancakes, protein French toast, protein, whatever. And I learned how to like really like measure my food and make good food, like good tasting food that people would consider a diet, but I don't really consider it a diet. So like I love vegetables. So I'm veggie heavy. Doesn't matter how much vegetables. Usually I have like a big plate of vegetables, but I'm very big on like calories. So like I'd rather have like lower calories, high volume foods than having just a crazy amount of calories. So like, for instance, the way it looks for me is like, I don't really eat in the morning. I usually just have electrolytes after training. So the first training, it's electrolytes, back to training again, just coffee and electrolytes. And then after my second training, it's electrolytes. And then I make a smoothie. And I make a smoothie very healthy, very low calorie, just like, you know, Greek yogurt, some oat milk in it, and some whatever whey protein I take. And then I will have later on I'll have like a very low calorie bread with egg whites and cheese. So I'll have like a egg sandwich. Of course, like it's the lowest version of an egg sandwich you can get. So everything like the smoothie is like less than 300 calories. The egg sandwich is less than 250. And then I will probably train again or lift, and I will eat my main meal at night. And my main meal at night will consist of like a bunch of veggies, butternut squash, could be zucchini noodles, can be broccoli, can be asparagus. And then I will have about, depending, now this is where it changes. So like if I was normal throughout the week, and I'm not worried about like competing, I probably intake like 6 ounces to 7 ounces of meat, right? If it's competition week or like leading up to it, I'll start changing that to like 6 to 4 ounces. And then that'll be it. I'll just drink a lot of water. I drink like a Zivia soda if I want something sweet. Otherwise, I just make really healthy food. So like, for instance, I'll make like chicken nuggets, and I'll make like breaded cutlet, and I'll make a sandwich. I eat bread all the time. The bread I eat is I think it's old time Schmidt's 64/7 bread. It's a very low calorie bread, very healthy bread. And I eat bread all the time. That is like it was changed my life when I found like that bread's not really your enemy, you know? So I took that, and yeah, I'll do like calorie free spray, and I'll use the air fryer, and I'll like make my own French fries, and I'll do it like healthy things. So like I'm still eating French fries, potatoes. I'm still making sandwiches that I like to eat. I just make them low calorie, you know, and I don't really count calories to that degree. I like to do like a guesstimate. So I kind of know at this point, like after counting calories already, knowing how much like I intake. So I don't really intake more. I probably intake very small calories to the amount that I like burn on a regular basis. But as long as I'm giving my body like actual protein good, then I'm good. So very clean diet. The only time that I will shift off, it will be the weekend. It will consist of like, maybe I'll have something that I want to eat really bad, but then I won't have a crazy snack. You know, if I make my dinner, then I can have a snack. So it's fine. So like, cause I'm eating healthy, but I'm just going to have a snack as well. So I'm trying to find this balance, where I don't lose myself. Like probably push that envelope a little bit more this weekend, but, yeah, I mean, listen, when you get ready for a tournament, everyone wants this idea where they're going to stay lean 24/7. I love being lean when I train, so I'm always small throughout the week. But you know, you're going to blow up a little bit on the weekend if you're going to indulge a little bit. That's just life, you know.
Yeah, and you have to give yourself a little bit of that break. It's kind of managing the break. It's not a cheat weekend, right? It's a cheat meal or a cheat snack. I think that's where a lot of people kind of fuck it up, is they go way overboard because they've been too strict kind of leading up to that.
I think that if you had a cheat weekend planned, then do your cheat weekend. If you had a cheat meal planned, then do your cheat meal. It's just different, right? Like, so for this last weekend, I think for the last weekend before that, I went to BJJ Fanatics, and I was just like, you know, we just got back from Worlds, and I'm just gonna eat whatever I wanted. And when you're out filming, you can't make your own food. So I ate the most oil I've had in like, I don't know, months or years. And then like I felt that, but it was really good. So that was the cost, right? Like you felt really good, but you felt like shit after, you know. Where like this weekend I was indulging, but I made all my own food. So like whatever, I'm gonna get a little heavier because of salts, which isn't really real. And my stomach's gonna be a little shitty because I'm eating sweets. But you know, as long as on Monday you go back to what you were doing, then it shouldn't be an issue, right? Like especially if you're already like in a place where you do things all the time like that, your body will regulate on its own. You know what I mean? Like for me, like my body regulates pretty quick. So no matter what I eat, I train Monday, Tuesday, and back to normal, because there's just too much training and too much of a calorie deficit for it to sustain and gain weight like that, you know?
Yeah. So you mentioned you were out at BJJ Fanatics. Are you filming a new instructional?
I filmed 2 already, and then I'm gonna film another 2 in November. And yeah, so I'm gonna film my last 2 in November. It was a 4 instructional deal I signed. So I already got 6 in the library, so it's gonna make it to all the way to 10. But after the next 2, I probably will stop for a little bit.
So kind of staying on that, we were talking about the Zlock earlier. So, you know, as far as the entry goes, or what kind of tips do you have for us as far as landing that?
I'd say, in my humble opinion, I'd say you should learn how to do all the basic leg entanglements before you go to a Zlock. Because the thing is with the Zlock is that some people don't use it. It's hard to put it in your repertoire, because you have to be really comfortable using it, and you got to be able to like the breakdown I made for it like is a real breakdown. Like that's all the stuff that I came up with in my mind. Obviously since I filmed it, I've made some upgrades to it, but you got to be comfortable like throwing it in, being able to land, being able to invert, and you know, being okay, knowing how to roll the right way, to not injure yourself and your partner until you want to injure them. But it's important to know the other stuff. You know, you shouldn't be doing a Zlock if you don't know how to do a basic, you know, like outside heel hook escape, or applying outside heel hook. I think it's important to know that you're going into the Zlock knowing those things, and then it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, so it's, you know, it's somewhat like, all right, if before you learn how to do like a gogo plata, like learn how to do just like the basic omoplata, right? Or learn how to set up a triangle at an armbar that then leads you to the omoplata that then can eventually lead you.
If you do the move Zlock and you don't understand the other stuff, it'll just be a flashy move. It'll just be something that's like, that shit don't work. If you know everything around it and there's a foundation behind it, like anything, it becomes a dangerous move. You take a flashy move and it becomes like one of your A games. So like for me, I can hit the Zlock. I practice that for years now. I can hit that. That's something I hit in my rounds. It's actually a flex for me not to hit it because I'm so used to like catching it, and people are so used to not seeing it that they get stuck in it very fast. And I just keep it in competition. I'm waiting to hit it again. Just, I have other things I want to work on too.
For sure. So let's step back a little bit. Let's talk about, how did you initially get into jiu-jitsu? I think you wrestled as a kid, right?
Yeah, I wrestled in high school. I think I was like 16. I think it was like, excuse me, long day.
No worries.
I apologize. It's becoming cold in New York, so it's like so bad. I hate the cold. I was like 15 or 16 when I started. I was like a freshman in high school, and I jumped on wrestling. And obviously, it wasn't like the level of like high, college wrestling or anything like that. But I was able to like find what I was good at through that.
Nice. All right. And you train at Unity, so obviously you're under Murilo. He's kind of known for pressure passing. So what's it like to be underneath him?
Oh man, it's horrible. Like what? Well, I mean, it's horrible. I mean, I've trained with him for years now, and I've never felt anyone like do pressure passing the way he does, or just do jiu-jitsu the way he does. I've trained with a lot of people really bigger than me, so many people, and at this point in my stage in my career, my jiu-jitsu, I feel like I'm very honest with myself. My jiu-jitsu is like it's top notch. It's legit jiu-jitsu, but Murilo just finds that he just doesn't even. It's like. I always say that like where all of us are like masters right now. Like I'm a master at my craft, or I'm mastering my craft, right? Jeff's mastering his craft, and then you got the grandmaster. He's the grandmaster. He's the guy who has like 20 years at black belt, alone, and been doing it for a long time and knows all the up-to-date stuff along with the old school stuff, and he's the grandmaster. It's going to be a long time before I'm a grandmaster. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm just a master.
For sure. And, you mentioned some of the guys you train with. So we were talking before we came on about Jeff, right? Or Jefferson. He was competing at Third Coast Grappling last night.
Yeah.
So what's it like training with him? Because obviously he's a very stout dude. Like he's built like a linebacker, but he's good wrestling, good from the bottom.
He's a lot of fun to train with because this is what it is. A lot of guys that are bigger, they with me, they usually have to drop all their weight because otherwise they have a hard time. Even with that, they have a hard time. With Jeff, we like to out jiu-jitsu each other. So like me and him, we just kind of throw the rule book out the window and we just roll, and like it just becomes really fun, man. We just do and we work on everything. We do the wrestling, we do the guard work, we do the ground. I don't think there's a role where we'll just stay like I'm on top or he's on top and I'm on bottom, he's on bottom. Like we try to out jiu-jitsu each other. So it's really fun. Obviously, there's moments that we're more serious, but for the most part, we out jiu-jitsu each other. But he's just amazing. He just moves so well, and his ego isn't involved in it. Like he'll try shit if it doesn't work out. He don't care if he gets tapped, and I don't care if I get tapped. So like our energy works really well together.
Nice. So you walk around or you compete 135, 140 in that neighborhood, right? So
yeah, well, I compete at 135. I walk around at 138 to 142.
Okay. So I'm in the neighborhood. So I'm around 150, 155, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of us that are on the smaller side, what tips do you have when you roll with the ultra heavyweights?
Man, you better have good jiu-jitsu. It's just true, man. Like I used to hate rolling with bigger guys because even at black belt in my rookie year, because even though I had no, it's the truth, man. I had really good jiu-jitsu, but it wasn't that good in the beginning. Like it wasn't what it is now, and I had a lot of holes, and it came out when I would fight people my size, I'd get away with it, but it would come out when I'd fight Levi, Italo, Jefferson. Like it would come out. And until I worked on all those things and I was honest with myself and I worked on all those things and leveled all those things up, training with them was fucking horrible, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're just gonna get smashed. You know, if you don't have good jujitsu, as a small person, and me being even smaller, right? I'm on the spectrum of like 141, you know, to 130s. That I'm a bantamweight, or light feather and IBJJF. You really have to have good jujitsu because your frame's got to be in place. Your timing has to be in place. Your offense, your tensioning up, your strength has to be in place. Your mind has to be in place. So I didn't feel like that till COVID. So I redid all my worked on everything, and then at the end of COVID, I worked on it again. And now I'm at a place where I feel like great, and I don't mind. If I roll somebody bigger than me, it's not even an issue. It's I mean, obviously they can still bench press you off and throw you,
sure.
but it's not going to be the same as me just getting planted and side control, you know?
Yeah. So what's it been like training in New York with all of the COVID stuff going on? Are you guys like still under restrictions or anything?
Right now we're not really under restrictions. They got all this, like, you know, they're just crazy. New York's not my favorite place just because of all the way they think about the virus and everything, and I just have different views. But it was fine, you know, like during COVID times, I say during COVID times because for me, COVID's over. But
Yeah.
during like that stuff, like I just trained with, you know, we did what we can do. We trained. I trained small groups with my teammates, and then I also trained separate in my friend's living room. And then I ended up finding a place that was like renting by the hour, and I ended up like, you know, booking like 2 hours so that I can bring my friends there, my teammates there, and train. That's how we got ready for all the fights. During the whole 2020, I got mostly ready with like, you know, pandemic training with my main team that was a little bit smaller, and also renting out a place to train.
Nice. So, you know, we talked a little bit earlier about, you know, at purple belt, you started to kind of get more into leg entanglements and leg locks and that sort of thing. Obviously now, you know, reaping, heel hooks, all that stuff, it's legal in IBJJF. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's good for the sport, and I think you're already starting to see it evolve. I think the guys have to evolve. There's no way you're just gonna get soft. Now, some of them haven't really evolved. Some of them have just been able to run away and try to stall the match out and stuff like that. And then others have like really adapted and like just learned the basic stuff to win, right? But this is where this rule is like amazing and it's gonna grow the sport, but people actually got to make it part of their curriculum and they actually got to like dive down it. And it's gonna take a couple of years because some of us are way ahead of the curve on that area. But this is where it is. When it does catch up, the people are going to be insanely talented because they're going to be coming up with a whole aspect of their game. Where like some people, until they catch up with everything, they're going to be limited. They're going to be afraid of like leg entanglements to that degree. For IBJJF, this is the thing. IBJJF creates very good competitors. It does, because it's a point style game. When you develop a point style game, you're developing people not to give up sweeps, not to fight for every little thing, play the rule set. And so positionally, they're better than most people that know leg entanglements, right? It's only the time where the person is good at all those things and leg entanglements that the leg entanglements shine, right? So like if you're great at leg entanglements but you're positionally like suck, you're gonna get smashed, right? So like if you're really good at positional stuff, learning leg entanglements is just an attachment of jiu-jitsu. So for me, I always learn positional stuff, always a positionally aware person, but now I just have all these other things on top of that. So it gives you an edge on the competition because I know the way I base my game. I know how you're going to react because that's how you're going to react in a points tournament. And I know how you're going to react in sub only and So I have a lot of experience there. And I just think that some people think, oh, they give you heel hooks, you're going to win automatically. That's not true, right? If you know what you're doing positionally and you know leg entanglements against somebody who doesn't, it gives you a one up on them. But it's the same way around, right? Like, so if you're positionally good and the only threat they have is a leg entanglement, is not going to be good for you. So I think it's a good rule. I think it's gonna blow up the sport even more. It's already starting to, and Nogi is just exploding into putting the sport to the forefront. And I love gi. Gi is traditional, and I train and teach most of my students in gi. And but I think that as far as a career, people don't want to see gi, they want to see Nogi. And I think that doing this stuff is going to push it to the forefront.
I mean, I think, just from like a entertainment value perspective, sometimes when you watch two really good black belts, they're doing stuff, but to the average person, they're not doing stuff, right? Because you're moving your hand this much and you're getting, slightly better grip or slightly better leverage. But everybody else is like, what the hell are you guys doing? They're just sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to watch. I mean, for me, it's exciting because I'm like, oh my God, they did that, but other people are just like, eh. And so like so what it really is, the audience doesn't give a fuck about high level jiu-jitsu. They care about what looks good. You know what I mean? And, that's part of it. We need to grow the sport, but, it sucks because sometimes certain matches aren't appreciated,
Yeah, for sure. So kind of talking about Nogi, ADCC trials are coming up. Are you competing?
Yeah, I'm in there. I will be pretty light for the weight class when I walk in. But it's cool. I'm good. I feel good light. I feel fast. I feel strong. My jiu-jitsu solid. And all my training partners are bigger than me. And I've been preparing since before Worlds. Kind of, while I was preparing for Worlds, I was planning for ACCC Trials. So I feel good right now. Just fine tuning. And I'm gonna fight my regular light. Like, I think right now, I think I'm like 144, and I feel like shit because I've just had nothing but bad food. And that's how I would be if I went to ADCC Trials, like trying to weigh heavier. So we're gonna do the opposite, and we're just gonna go in and go. So I should be walking in there like 140, 141, feeling really good, feeling hydrated, feeling fully fed. And just being able to move faster than the guys. And so I'm excited about it. Way too many guys in there for me to like even think past it. I'm just gonna go and have some fun.
Yeah, for sure. I think I was watching Rogan the other day and he was talking to Valentina Shevchenko, and she was saying the same thing. Like, if she ever competed against Amanda Nunes, she wouldn't try to put on a whole bunch of weight because her thought was, I'm comfortable at how my body is right now and I know how to move. I'm not going to try to pack a bunch of weight on. It's not going to work for her.
So this is the thing, right? Like, so I tried this in the past. I tried this when I fought Kennedy. I tried this when I fought the last ADCC trials in 2018, I think it was. I think it was 2018. And man, even right now, man, my stomach hurts. It's not how I operate. It's not how I train, like I train. When I was getting ready for Worlds, I felt them the best because I didn't, obviously I had to diet down a couple pounds, which wasn't an issue because when I eat super clean, I immediately drop down to like 137, so it's not like a big thing. But I remember how I felt during the match. I felt great. Everything was great. And I felt strong. I felt strong as fuck. I was training with my featherweight training partners who are like 149 and really good world-class guys like Pato, who just won this weekend, and he's amazing. Shout out to Pato because he's just fucking amazing. It's like, love training with him. So I feel like that's exactly what it is. I'm gonna go in fighting the way I normally would train and fight in the tournaments. And since I fight year-round at 135, I don't think I should be too much heavier. We want to be a little bit better, so I don't need to drop to 135 to compete, but I should just be fighting light and just being able to work my attributes. My attributes is being faster, speed, timing, reaction, and having good jiu-jitsu. So hopefully that'll be enough, and we'll see. But I'm not gonna walk in there doing what I did previously. I don't think that worked, and I think that is better for me to just be in my light frame and I think that's going to give me a much better edge than just trying to walk in heavy just because, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, what does your training look like kind of getting ready for a competition or a tournament?
These days I train a lot smarter, so it'll be a lot of situational leading up to the matches. So even right now, there's just a lot of situational, like I'm doing live rounds, but like even during the rounds, you're just like, I think right now for ADCC specifically, mixing up stand up a lot and just making sure I stand every training session, with guys that are bigger than me, like way bigger than me, and good wrestling. I think I'm standing like at least 4 rounds a session. So it's like half a session, and then I'll mix it up with my jiu-jitsu. And then I'll have rounds that are completely mixed, so it just depends. But leading up is just a smart training camp. In the past, I used to just think training hard was what it was. But I changed that up. I changed it up a lot. So I always train a lot, but it's very heavy and situational. Very heavy situation. I'll study. We'll keep the same regimen, and then we'll start tapering little things. So like if normally my training session is 2 hours for that like morning, or I drill before teach my class, and then I train during my class, and I train for like, I don't know, like an hour and a half. I'll start condensing that like the week of or something like that. Or as I go, I'll start chipping away at some of the time frames, and I'll just keep the same effort I would put in those 2-hour sessions or hour and a half. But I start really just putting effort and just focus on quality versus the quantity. And that's what I did for Worlds, and I felt great for Worlds. I felt like just so amazing for Worlds. So I feel like that's like going to be the answer for this one. So we're not going to, right now there's still going to be some volume this week. This week's probably still going to be very intense. But as we start shifting to the weekend, or like that Monday of the actual ADCC trial, I'll start tapering to the point where it's like, okay, we're going to do 2 sessions on Monday. We're going to do 2 sessions on Tuesday. That's it. After Tuesday, it's just like 1 session, and then, start tapering little by little. But I keep it very similar, just got to modify and tweak it a little bit. But by the time that it hits, I'm going to be so excited and so ready for it. It's going to be fun.
What do you do outside of off the mats as far as training, like strength and conditioning, mobility, that kind of thing?
So I train functional patterns. So I don't do traditional lifting. I gave up traditional lifting in 2019, a little before 2019. No. It was definitely 2019, like the beginning of 2019. I gave it up. I just had too many injuries, and my body was feeling like shit all the time. And I was just getting injuries that were just insane. And I think I was like 28 or something like that. And then I had so many injuries. I was 29. And I remember it's like when I turned 30, I decided to just give away with all regular traditional lifting and like fix my body. And functional patterns is just a better way for me. So I do strength and conditioning with functional patterns, as well as healing my body through functional patterns. And the results have just been tremendous. Like I feel strong, I feel great, I feel awesome. But I could train jiu-jitsu a lot, and my injuries are minimal. And I just feel overall better. And that's the training I do outside of the gym. I don't do any traditional lifting. Now that doesn't mean I don't lift and I don't do things in that manner, but it's not the same. Like everything is performed through gait motion and fixing your body and posture being exactly the right way it was intended to be. So it's hard to explain what that is, but it's just for me, it's just like a better way.
Yeah, like as an example, you do a Turkish get up instead of doing, let's say, like an overhead press, right? Something like that.
It'll be more like, no, like I can still do a press. I will not do any deadlifts, but the deadlifts will change. Like I'll still do a deadlift motion, but it will not be with me putting weight on my neck to like lift up. Like it's just not, in my opinion, great for you. Anyone who lifts like that for too long and does jiu-jitsu usually just hurts themselves, myself included. So it would be more like, okay, I'm gonna do like a kettlebell swing. right? But the kettlebell swing for somebody is just like down here and then up, right? So like squat motion down, up. So for me, it's not like that. For me, it's like I'm gripping, my chest is rotated, my biceps on, it's here, one thing's rotating. As I go to throw, my chest is rotating, and then my arm will swivel, my arm will lead into here. This will lead me into the squat. The swing will bring me back up, the butt cheeks clinch, and then chest rotation comes back in, and we use almost every single muscle possible. So it's all gait motion. So a kettlebell swing is not normal for me. It's very tiring because it's just not like a squat and pop up. It's a use everything in the perfect posture type of moment. And this is more easily seen on my Instagram if you want to look up like functional patterns, or you see like my before and after for the years. It's just so much of a better way. Like I still do push-ups. I can still do sit-ups, but they're just completely different, like completely different, and it just feels different. I do pull-ups and it feels different. It's just different. So it's hard to explain because it's more than just gait motion. At the same time, you're fixing your body. So I feel at 32, right? I'm 32 years old, but I'm training and outworking the young guys, you know, and I train more than I probably train more than a lot of people in the gym. I have rest days, but they're more like how you say, active rest day.
Like an
It's like
active recovery day.
yeah, it's like a lower session. So like for me, a rest day is like, okay, instead of like 8 hours a day of training, we're going to do training for an hour and a half. That's a rest day for me. I don't really think of like not moving around. I have to do something in that day. And I don't have those issues. You know, like I used to have sciatica nerve pain running down my whole leg and just so many injuries, and I don't feel those things. You know, I have minimal injuries, like, you know, you're still going to get sore, you're still going to have things, but the ability to be able to do these things and still better your body and do jujitsu, it says a lot, right? Like a lot, because I train a lot and jujitsu fucks up your body, you know?
Yeah, and so I'm a fair amount older than you, but I've found the same thing. Like a rest day just sitting on my ass, that doesn't work. So I'll go on a hike or I'll ride the bike for 25
Yeah.
miles or something like that to at least like get my body
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah. Like, so for me, so I've never been built like that. I'm working on my mental side of things, on working on being more relaxed and being going from 0 to 100. But I like working out. I like sweating. I like being active. So like I love being active. So like I don't want to sit home all day. You know, like especially if I'm gonna sit home. I mean, there's no reason I can't get up at like 7 in the morning on a Sunday and go get some work in, or drill and train a little bit, teach a private or something, and then you know, enjoy my day, do a lighter session or something like that. You know.
Yeah, for sure. So let's kind of fast forward. Let's say it's competition day, right? And your first match is, let's just say 6 o'clock at night.
Mhm.
What does your day look like, kind of from the time you wake up to, all right, I'm stepping on and now we're bumping fists?
So I'll sleep in as long as I can. I'll get up, I'll have some coffee. I won't really try to be on my phone too much. I'll try to stay away from that. I'll try to be present. I'll try to enjoy myself and remind myself and look at the day, look how beautiful it is, whatever it is, and that how lucky I am to get to do all these things that I love to do. And I will watch a movie. I'll try to do something fun. And then as it gets a little closer, maybe I'll have a nap because I'll probably be tired a little bit. Then I'll get up. But when I finally get up, because I know I'll have the butterflies at some point and they'll kick in, um, I will get up, and then usually I'll take a nap earlier, because by the time, like if it's at 6, I'm gonna probably start feeling things at 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'll try to remember that I love to do what I do, and that I choosing to do it. And so that makes me feel a lot better knowing that, like, you know, like, dude, I don't have to do this. I'm choosing to do this. Like, this is fun. This is my job. This is my job. This is my fucking job, you know?
Pretty cool.
So it's fucking awesome. Like, you know, whatever. Not only is it my job, I'm fucking good at it. And not only am I good at it, I'm like one of the best in the world. I'm legit. I'm like, man, I'm that. So when I start like talking to myself and like really thinking on it, it kind of gets me more like, this is fun, man. Like I'm excited. You know, like when I was getting ready for Worlds, I was like, man, I'm about to fight in the fucking world championships. You know what I mean? At black belt at 2021. I'm like so fucking blessed, and I'm super excited. So I think I'm gonna feel the same way for trials, because it's just, you know, there's the biggest trials to date, and it's gonna be, you know. Anyway, I get back to the question. See, I'm starting to get excited, right?
You're good.
And then after that, I will do my stretching routine. So I'll probably take a shower. It depends. If I'm cutting weight the same day, I'll probably cut a little bit of weight if I need to. These days, I don't need to cut weight. I just diet down perfectly. And then I will like stretch out. I'll do all these. I use a ball and I like relieve pressure all over my body. So I use the lacrosse ball. I'll relieve pressure all over my body. So everything I do that's ordinary in a day, I do this every day before training and after every single training session. So it's like a religion for me. And then I will listen to anything that I feel like puts me in a good mood. So it doesn't necessarily have to be pump you up music. It doesn't necessarily have to be calm music. It's just however I feel. If I feel like I'm in a good mood, I want to listen to Hispanic music, I'll listen to Hispanic music, you know? If I feel like I want to listen to music that makes me upbeat and like I want to dance, if I want to listen to Mark Anthony and feel myself, I'm good, right? Like whatever it is, I'm okay with feeling myself. And like if it's a gangster, you know, like track, because I have that side to me, I'll listen to that. Sometimes I'll listen to my affirmations. I have the app that I listen to my affirmations that I make myself and record myself. And I'll start listening to those a little bit, and it'll kind of put me in a little bit more Zen place. Sometimes I don't need that at all. And then I have like my other app that I use like to focus, you know? So sometimes I will just relax and put music and take a shower, and whatever I need to do, I'll shower, I'll start getting ready. I'll start putting stuff on my fingers. I really only put tape on my fingers when they're getting ready for competition. I use it as a symbol to trust my jiu-jitsu. So like I'll tape it up and I'll just remember that, like if I have time, I'll write trust on it. But if I don't, it's just a good cue for me to remember, like, okay, just trust yourself. You know what I mean? Trust your jiu-jitsu. We do this every day. And then I'll get ready to go. I'll go warm up. I'll get to the venue. I'll warm up. Usually for me, I like to do a nice warm up, at least 12 minutes of light rolling, like break a little sweat, get something going good. I do the Jefferson a little harder, but you know, you do what you can. And that's it. Then it's go time. And when it's go time, I'll probably list some affirmations for a little bit before a fight. And then I will pray before a fight. Me specifically, I have St. George pendant that I use. It's kind of to kill the demons that I grew up with. And just remember that I'm blessed and I want to be on the mat and to come off the mat good and, you know, unscathed, and, you know, at least give me the power to perform the best of my ability. And then I'll go out and I'll compete.
Awesome. So what does the future hold for you? Any plans to open your own school or move to MMA? What do you think?
So I think that I'm 32, but I take care of my body really well, and I'm smart about how I train. So I think I got a lot more longer than people would normally have at my age to be at the highest level. And I think the MMA is somewhere I want to be later on. But right now I really want to focus on getting my titles, because I'm at like the pinnacle of my career. Like I'm at like, you know, I don't really think I'm peaking yet. So I feel like, I think I can hit it. And maybe after I hit some of my titles, opening my academy is something I definitely want to do, running my own school. That's definitely my dream of mine. Getting to MMA. And then I don't know, after MMA, you know, who knows? I might try to dabble in acting. You know, I might do the whole rock thing. You know, I have other aspirations that take a back seat, because, you know, my dream of being world champion and really being master of my craft. But I think I'm approaching that mindset to everything I do. So, you know, I think I'll be successful whatever I want to do. So a title in MMA would be amazing. And I think that one championship is where I'd want to be. I know everybody's like MMA, UFC, but I actually had changed my mind a while back, just because one championship actually like makes sure that the weight cut is legit, and that they actually like will not let everybody just drop crazy amounts of weight. and the fighters there, because it's like based in Japan, they're small. They're my size. So like they don't cut like excess amount of weight, where like I would have to fight at 125 if I fought anywhere else, because I'm a natural 130 pounder, you know, like I'm too close to, like, people complain about making weight. I complain about making weight, but I literally don't have to do anything but like diet clean for a week. That's all I do. And I cry like a baby. Like, I'm like, whatever, you know, but other people actually cut weight. So like, I don't really want to like go to 125, but I would. But you know, we'll see. But winning a one championship is like pretty fucking awesome. And I see Gary Tonin doing his thing over there, and I feel like that I'll have a good impact in, you know, MMA. I mean, I worked on striking in the beginning of my career, and I kept it up a little bit after. But I think that that's something at this point I can pick up good, and I think I can make a crazy career out of it, you know.
Yeah, and kind of talking about the future, you mentioned kind of way back towards the beginning of the podcast, you've already filmed 2 instructionals and you have 2 more coming.
Yeah.
Have you put those next 2 together in your mind yet? Do you at least know what the topic's going to be?
Yeah. So you'll have the last 2 that just came out. It'll be an extension of the leg entanglements, and then another of the passing. So I'm finishing all the volumes I had in mind to do. So like there's volumes to each thing I do, but they're based on certain positions. So like you get like 4 to 3 topics per instructional. And so instead of doing like a 9-hour instructional, which I don't think people really sit through, to be honest. And if they do sit through it, it takes a longer time. And I just don't like to do that. These are the ones I just did were a little shorter and to the point. And then I have a really cool guard, the reverse K guard, I'm going to show. That is probably going to be like my funnest one to do, because I feel like it's such a newer thing that people don't really think that they can do. So doing a reverse K guard one is just like super fun. I probably will actually film that over 2 days, so I make sure I take my time. And then I will finish off the leg entanglements volumes. So you'll get all the leg entanglements that I like to do from the bottom. So it should be good. That'll be a really good library between the passing and the leg entanglements, and one of the fundamental ones, and the Zlock. So I think you'll have a lot there. And I think I'm just going to let it sit at this point. I just want to finish what I started and kind of let it sit a little bit, and then see how people react to it. I think I have like a bitter taste in my mouth right this second about certain aspects of filming, and like just like, you know, media being dumb and hype, that I just don't want to put anything else out after I get these done, for now anyway.
Nice. And obviously those are all available, or will be available, on bjjfanatics.com, right?
Yeah, they're all available at bjjfanatics.com. They pretty much got Junny on there, and then they link to that is on my Instagram, which is, you know, at Junny_BJJ. If you go to my link tree, it hits the instructionals and it goes right to the instructionals. And almost all of my instructors have reviews on them. Of course, if anybody has questions with them, they could always ask and message me. There's clips all over my Instagram on each one. There's free moves I give out all the time. So yeah, you'll get the whole spiel there.
Yeah, perfect. Well, hey, Junny, I appreciate it. I know you have shit to do, man. So I appreciate you spending an hour with me.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. I was like, man, I haven't talked to him today. I hope it's still on. I think it's still on. It's in my schedule, so I hope it's there. And I was laughing. I was like, soon as I hit the link, I was like, oh, he's waiting for me. It's like awesome.
So I was actually doing the same thing this morning, so we were on the same page.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm gonna log in right now just in case. Yeah, I appreciate you, and thank you for taking the time to you know, have me on. And I just like to take time to say thank you to my team, Unity Jiu Jitsu, you know, sponsors, Virus International, Jotun, Cruise Combat, he gives me fly gear. All those links to all those things are on my Instagram, and just everyone who supports me in my journey. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So guys, you heard it from him. Make sure you go check him out, Junny_BJJ on Instagram. That'll link to everything you want to know. And he's, as you heard, he's an awesome guy. So thank you, Junny. I appreciate it.